The hype around the Kaspa coin has grown significantly, and the bull run date is already known. And what's next? We'll answer those questions and cover the latest Kas news in today's video. Welcome back to the Crypto Intel channel. If you enjoy staying up to date with everything around Kaspa, please give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That way you'll never miss updates, price predictions, and market analysis. So let's dive in. Right now, Kaspa is sitting at one of those moments that people may look back on months from now and ask themselves one question: how did the market not see this coming? While most crypto traders continue chasing short-term pumps and the latest hype narratives, Kaspa is quietly building a setup that increasingly resembles the early stages of a much larger move. What's especially interesting is that many investors are still evaluating Kaspa using old assumptions. But over the past several months, the project has evolved significantly. If Kaspa was once viewed purely as a high-speed proof-of-work payment network, today's reality looks very different. The ecosystem is gradually gaining tools for DeFi, tokenization, and application development, opening the door to an entirely new phase of growth. And that's where things start getting really interesting. As of June 24th, 2026, the biggest story surrounding the ecosystem remains the rollout and integration of the capabilities introduced through the Takata upgrade. Many analysts consider this to be the most important technical milestone in Kaspa's history. The reason is simple. Takata expands the network far beyond basic transactions. It gives developers new tools, it enables broader functionality, and it creates the foundation for a much larger ecosystem. This is where many long-term investors begin to see the real opportunity. Crypto history has shown that the biggest repricing events rarely happen because a network becomes slightly faster. They happen when entirely new economic activity starts forming inside an ecosystem, when developers begin building, when users start interacting with applications, when demand for block space and network utility starts growing. That's exactly the direction Kaspa appears to be moving toward right now. Looking at the technical picture, the market has been building a very interesting structure over the past several weeks. Following an extended correction, price has stabilized around an important support zone. Despite repeated attempts from sellers to push the market lower, a sustainable downtrend still hasn't developed. In fact, every meaningful dip continues, attracting buyers who step in and defend key levels. For experienced market participants, this often resembles a classic accumulation phase. And here's the funny part. Accumulation phases almost never look exciting while they're happening. Usually, the exact opposite occurs. Retail interest fades, trading volume cools off, the crowd gets bored, and that's often when larger players quietly begin building positions. RSI on the daily time frame remains in neutral territory. The indicator is nowhere near overbought conditions, meaning the market still has plenty of room to run if strong buying momentum returns. MACD is also showing continued signs of stabilization after months of bearish pressure. Downside momentum has weakened considerably compared to earlier in the year, and the overall structure increasingly resembles the early stages of a potential trend reversal. Another factor worth paying close attention to is supply dynamics. Today, the overwhelming majority of all Kaspa coins are already in circulation. That creates a very different situation compared to many competing projects that still face years of heavy token emissions. When most of the supply has already been distributed, the market becomes far more sensitive to rising demand. And if ecosystem activity continues expanding, limited new supply could eventually become a powerful tailwind for price appreciation. The infrastructure side of the story is also becoming more impressive. With KRC-20 development progressing, new developer tools being introduced, and the first meaningful DeFi components beginning to emerge, the ecosystem looks far more mature than it did just a year ago. These developments often go unnoticed by the broader market, but they're exactly the types of of improvements that tend to attract developers, investors, and new projects over time. Looking ahead, the key objective for bulls remains reclaiming and holding above the major resistance zone that has capped price action for several weeks. A successful breakout above this area could become the first major signal that the market is transitioning from accumulation into a new growth phase. If that happens, higher price targets that haven't been tested in quite some time could quickly come back into focus. But honestly, the most important story isn't about the next resistance level. It's about what the ecosystem could look like a few months from now. If developers actively embrace the new infrastructure, if economic activity inside the network continues growing, if new projects and capital begin flowing into the ecosystem, then today's prices may look very different in hindsight. To wrap things up, as of June 24th, 2026, Kaspa remains one of the most compelling large-cap altcoin stories in the market. The technical structure is gradually stabilizing, the fundamental foundation continues strengthening, the ecosystem keeps expanding, and market skepticism remains surprisingly high. Historically, that combination has often created the conditions for some of the most explosive rallies in crypto, because the biggest moves rarely begin when everyone already believes. They usually begin when most people are still doubting. And right now, Kaspa is starting to look more and more like a project that could remind the market of that lesson once again. Your plans, hopes, and expectations are for it. The best and most engaging comment will be featured in the next video. Just a reminder, friends, informational and news videos are posted on the channel every day, so you won't get bored here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you're always up to date on all the latest news. And if you liked this video, please support me with a like. Your like is my motivation. Thanks to everyone for watching, and see you next time.